Hello, this is Randy Orwin from the Information School at the University of Washington with another Learning Technologies tutorial. In this session, I will show you some basics about navigating the Group Member Evaluation tool, GME for short, and how you as the instructor can leave a full review for each student. Let's start with a pre-configured activity that already has some student work that has been completed. To make the process easier, I always recommend that you place FeedbackFruits into full screen mode or open the activity in a new tab. This provides more screen real estate and reduces a bit of horizontal scrolling. Now that we are in full screen mode, let's take a quick look at what is on the home page of the GME. The home page of the activity is broken down into 5 sections: Overall Student Progress, Instructions, Given Reviews, Received Reviews and Reviewer Ratings, and Grading. To keep this tutorial brief, I'm going to focus on the Received Reviews and Reviewer Ratings section of the page. This is where you can look at all the student reviews, both the self-evaluations and the reviews of their peers, and where you can leave your own full review if you desire to do so. The section indicated by the number 3 has an overview of some basic information about the current status of the activity. A quick look will show us that on this activity, 4 out of 5 students have been actively engaging in the assignment. In the Review Progress section, we can see what percentage have completed the review activity, meaning how many students have read all of their reviews. Notice that we get an overall completion rate, and then an average of the completion percentage in each group, 2 of which are present in this activity. The next column shows the average rating of all the reviews that have been completed. The self-assessment rating provides the overall average of how students are assessing their own performance during the activity. In this case, we see that overall, students are in the green, and mousing over the green bar will show the percentage for each bar. Overall, we see an average score of 63%, while the first group shows a slightly better score of 67%, and the second group appears to be struggling a bit, showing a 50% average. If we use the horizontal scroll bar, or the arrows on the screen, we can see a few more statistics. In this instance, we see 1 minute on average, likely because my fake students have only spent a few seconds on their reviews. Next, we see how many comments on average have been left by the students, and lastly, we see how many comments have been left on average by the instructor. We can also drill down to individual students by expanding each group. Here you see the individual scores for each student, and we can also identify the student that has not even started the activity. We can also see that a couple of students have been quite critical of their own performance, possibly an indicator that we might want to reach out to them and see how they're doing. Now, let's drill down even further and see what is happening within the reviews themselves. If you want to dive into an individual student, you can just mouse over their name and click directly on it or click the View button. This will load the student's individual page. For now, let's take a look at the summary data for the whole class. Click on the View All button. Now we see an overview of received reviews, self-assessments, and review feedback, each represented by a tab at the top of the table. First, though, take a look at the top left corner. There is a drop-down list that lets you toggle between given reviews and received reviews and reviewer ratings. Make sure that you are on the Received Reviews and Reviewer Ratings option for this activity. Additionally, at the top left you will see that this page is an overview of everyone in assignment, and that text will change depending on if you are looking at a group, a student, or everyone in the assignment. Now, let's take a look at everyone in assignment overview for Received Reviews. Click on the Received Reviews tab just to make sure we're in the right spot. In the table, you will see how many students received each score on the rubric for each criterion. On criterion 1, we see that 1 student received beginning. 1 received emerging, 1 received proficient, 1 received experienced, and 1 received exemplary. On criterion 2, we can see that 2 students received emerging. This heat map just gives you a broad overview of where the scores fall across all students. If you want to see who received a particular rating within a criterion, click on the Show List option, and you will see which students received that score. If you want to drill down further to the individual student, click on a student name in the pop-up list. I find to navigate things a bit quicker, I tend to use the Up Next section in the top right. There are 2 ways to use this tool. You can use the purple button to automatically go to the next thing in the list. Given we are currently viewing everyone in the course, clicking on the purple button will take us to an overview of all the students in the first group. This will be indicated in the top left corner. If we click the purple button again, it will go to the first student in that group, then the next, and then on to the next group, and so on and so forth. My favorite way of navigating is to use the drop-down list to the left of the purple button. Clicking this button will create a pop-up that shows the structure for the entire course. From here, you can select to view the overview of the entire class, individual groups, or individual students. It is also easy to see who has not yet started participating in the activity, identified in light gray. You can also sort the list based on a number of options. Click on a student or group to see the details for that selection. Let's start by clicking on Student iSchool Test 5. You will see the student's name in the top left corner. From this screen, we can first see that this student has not yet started reading the reviews left by their peers. In the first column, we can see the student's self-assessment. We can click on the comment icon to read any of the comments. When you open up the comments, you can also leave a reply to those comments. You will see their rubric scores indicated by a purple dot in each criterion score. The second column is an overview of all the ratings provided by both peers, and in this case, the course teacher. If you hover over the purple dots, you will see how many of their peers selected that score in their review. Here we see that in criterion 1, 2 people marked them as experienced. I should also note that anything marked as unread is an indicator for me as the instructor that I have not read those comments. In the next column, we see the first review from one of their peers. You can see who left the review as it is indicated at the top of the column. I can read the comments and see the rubric scores indicated by the small purple dots. The next column is the second review the Test 5 student has received. The last column on this screen is the review that I, as the instructor, left for this student. Now, let's show you how to create your own review of a student. I'm going to go back to my drop-down and select a student that I know I have yet to review. There are 2 ways to trigger the system, so it allows you to create a review for an individual student. I will only touch on one of those today. When looking at a student that you have not yet reviewed, find the purple plus sign button in the lower right corner. This is called the Add Yourself as a Reviewer button. Click this button to continue. The screen will reload, and you will now see a new column with your name. Enter in any comments, write feedback, and select the scores for the rubric. FeedbackFruits will automatically save your entries as you fill out the review. Note that your review will not be counted towards the final grade for the activity. Only peer feedback is used in the final grade average. You can update these grades manually to reflect your final score before submitting the grades back to the Canvas gradebook. Hopefully, you have found this tutorial helpful.